Good evening, everybody. I want to welcome you guys to Hot Topics. We are live and on the air. It is the Wednesday before the Thanksgiving. So let's get started. We're gonna miss next week because we're going to be, at least I am going to use next week to preview the things of Thanksgiving, and perhaps we'll talk a little bit more about Thanksgiving in the show tonight. But again, welcome you to Hot Topics. Do us a favor, like this, share this, let somebody know that we are live and on the air, ready to educate and entertain you as much as possible. We don't do this show by myself. There's some other great young adults. Glad to have the entire gang back with us again tonight. And so we want to welcome everybody back on the show. Let's start. We always start lady first, so we just tend to do that again. We're going to start with Miss Nikisha. Say hello to everybody. How you doing tonight?
Hey everyone, I am great. And yourself?
I am doing well. Lady Kim, how are you tonight? She always start the same way. Mic not muted. Mic muted.
Is it my turn? Hello, hello, hi.
She always start the same.
Hi,
She's like a robot.
everybody.
Slow, methodical, act like she don't want to talk, and then we're gonna, it's 3:40 now. We're gonna wait, 25 to 30. We're gonna wait to see how that go. Uh, how you doing, Lady Austin?
All is well. Thank you so much for asking.
How has your week been, Miss Homeschooler?
Oh, thank you for asking. I can't complain. Thank you.
And the other male figure on the show, Minister B. Lion McCord. Say hello to everybody.
Oh, always start the same way. Look at you.
But he's starting off the same way too, First Lady. It's okay.
Same way. That's right in line with how my day has been. So it's perfect. Happy Wednesday, everybody.
Happy Wednesday. It is hump day. Yeah, hump day. Good evening, Ms. Ross. Good evening to everybody again. Make sure you like this. We're in for an awesome show tonight. If you're watching us, let us know that you're watching us so that we can know that we're not just having this four-way conversation, because we could do this on the phone. We can have a four-way on the phone. Man, I want to get started. We're in Florida. And I have been noticing since the election, and probably a little bit before the election. I don't know if you noticed this, but we have been missing the great leader of our state, Mr. Densantis. I don't want to ask Nikisha about him because she kind of works for the state. But have you heard from the boss lately? Have we seen him? Has he given us any COVID updates? Has he given us any plans, any marching orders, how we should move forward? Since he kind of opened some things back up and numbers have been kind of high. Have we heard from him? What?
Mm-mm.
No, no, no,
No.
no emails, no. I thought maybe you had the inside. Maybe you got some private Zoom meetings or something. Do we know
No.
if he's alive? Do we know is he okay? Do we know if he's is he part of the Trump? I don't want to say transition exit plan. I don't know, Brent. I mean, maybe you've seen it. You're in law enforcement. Leader of the state. Maybe had some private conversations. Have we seen him? I've been noticing I haven't seen him.
Have not. I'm not sure where he is or what he's doing, but he has been missing. Uh, he's an interesting guy, man. As time goes on, he just becomes a worse and worse governor. Like it's just, I don't know. I don't know what he's doing. But in times like this, uh, people not only need to see their leader, and this goes for any leader. People not only need to see their leader, but they need to hear from the leader, and that goes for any leader. And he isn't doing either. So that goes, that says a lot about him as a leader, not hiding.
Kimberly, have you seen our great leader of the great state of Florida? Maybe you're home for most of the day, so you watch the news. Maybe you've seen them, and I'm not home during the day, so maybe you've seen them, and you can give us an update about where is Waldo. I mean, where is DeSantis?
Well, I'm homeschooling, so I'm not particularly looking for him, but I have not seen him. But I do know he's around because he's doing the typical Trump stuff. He's not tweeting, but he's signing off on stuff that have nothing to do with the important stuff, like allowing people to do this extra stand your ground. He's doing a lot of premeditated stuff that's gonna be a problem in the future. So that's why I say typical Trump stuff. But the things he's supposed to be tending to, he's not. I know he signed the I think whatever it is about the people to get evicted, they could start evicting people now. He signed that. If your landlord filed the eviction notice before a March something, then now he's giving them permission to evict you. Before it was a hold on it. So again, he's being his typical self, doing something that benefits nobody but him. Typical Trumpster.
So it's interesting you brought up the stand your ground because I was that is one thing that he has done is he's kind of expanded the stand your ground law, and somebody in Orlando kind of took him to task on it. I want you guys to see this. I thought this was interesting. Again, we like to educate you of what's going on. Y'all voted him in, so we got to know like what he's doing. So I want you guys to watch this. Check this out.
Governor Ron DeSantis already made clear months ago where he wants at least some of the Florida legislature's focus to lie.
I look at what goes on in Portland.
Now, a new proposal drafted by his office and obtained by WESH 2 outlines his promise of an alleged crackdown on disorderly protests. And among several changes to Florida law, it would also add justifications for people using force against one another over criminal acts during protests, like looting, by expanding Florida's Stand Your Ground law. Former State Senator David Simmons helped pass the original Stand Your Ground.
You must be first attacked. Secondly, you must be in a place where you have the right to be.
He doesn't disagree, though, with expanding the law.
Properly drafted, it can make very, very good sense.
Critics say, though, the proposal could provoke vigilantism and provide justification for people killing other people over property crimes.
What's interesting to see is that Governor DeSantis has so much free time on his hands that he can craft legislation to address an imaginary issue in the state of Florida.
Orlando Representative Carlos Guillermo Smith is preparing for the legislature to reconvene next week. He calls the proposal a distraction.
We don't have a crisis with riots or with looters. What we do have is millions of Floridians pushed into poverty and unemployment as a result of the economic consequences of coronavirus. It is beneath the dignity of the office of the governor to be introducing such dangerous legislation. And frankly, Governor Ron DeSantis should be ashamed of himself.
Absolutely.
So Mr. Smith kind of takes our governor to task on a couple of issues, but there was one issue that that stood out to me, and I'll let you guys go at it. But the stand your ground law is interesting. It was already interesting before, but the former representative that helped craft the original stand your ground law in the state of Florida said something that stuck out to me. It says in the stand your ground law, you have to first be somewhere lawfully and be attacked. Now we all know that the stand your ground law was made famous in the Trayvon Martin situation where he was in a complex where he lived, got attacked, but yet somebody else was able to use that as a defense. So, Kimberly, when you see that that instance, and just based upon what he's done, as the Mr. Smith said, this imaginary scenario that there's no rioting and looting going on, but he thought it was needful to come out of hiding to craft this legislation. What do you think about that? What's the first thing that comes to your mind?
Well, I think just like the law was invented to benefit the people with benefit anyway. We already know that. And I think he knows that. And even the person that said it, even we as black people, we always say that the law, they tweak it how they want to tweak it based on every situation. But also what was interesting to me was DeSantis don't understand the law. I'm not gonna say they don't understand it, or they just don't care. They use it to their benefit. Cause he started off by saying we don't want another Portland. But what does that have to do with us? Because in Portland, if I'm not mistaken, that's when the guy drove down from nowhere and put himself in the situation to shoot the other people. That had nothing to do with Florida. And if you don't want another Portland, then why will you expand the law? It's like he's constantly he's contradicting himself, just like they all do when it's time to argue the law. Like they argued what the law was when it was Zimmerman. They argued what the law was, but when it was the lady who shot the gun in the air, they argued in another way. And now the Ahmaud Arbery case is coming up. They're gonna argue that another way. So they just use the law and tweak it to their convenience as to what fit how they want it to fit. I think the law need to be abolished altogether because it has no boundaries. Anytime they wanted to fit a case, they come and change it. And he's telling us straight up, he's being proactive. Basically, he know the Trump people are about to get unleashed. They about to be opened up. And just like I said, him being for Trump, he's ready. And it's just sad that a governor will prepare and put themselves in a situation like that instead of bringing on unity to their state. It's just a sad scenario.
Nikisha, you've talked about before, your son, your oldest son, my name say, he ain't mine, but he just got my name. Nathan, he's a big guy. And you've talked about laws like this that you feel for his safety because, now there has been expanded for the lack of a better term, the reason to attack. We already knew, as Kim said, that these laws were not favorable for us, and so now basically it's being expanded to further cause our harm. And so, as a mother of a black male, how do you feel about this law as it was previously crafted, and how do you feel about it now that it's being expanded?
Well, I never liked it from the get-go. So the fact that it's been expanded really disheartens me. Like I'm very fearful for not just my son, but just black boys and black men in general, because this law being expanded just gives you the right to shoot whenever you feel like you're in danger. So at any given point, we're up in arms again for our black boys and our black men. So I'm very disgusted by it. I'm not shocked. I feel like it's something to kind of deflect us from actually seeing what the actual vision is or what he's trying to do. We do know he follows and, does whatever Trump asks him to do. So I think it's intentional that he's coming out with this expansion. So I believe it's more to come. I wouldn't be surprised. But I'm very disheartened. I'm very disgusted by the expansion. As we stated months before, what do you do now? I mean, anything can happen, and at the end of the day, it's going to be their word versus ours. You really can't do much more to protect.
Brandon, you've talked about this, and in your line of work, your ability to use force is raised at a high standard. You just can't use force. And so the more I look at this law and the more I see it expanded, it almost, in some instances, gives the citizens the right and the freedom to shoot almost faster than law enforcement. So looking at it from that perspective, what do you think about this?
Yeah, and it's law, so I'll tread lightly with what I say, but I think even before this, the regular citizen kind of actually had a little more freedom when it comes to shooting someone. I mean, it's just that simple. Obviously, police situations are a little more scrutinized, and you're held to a different standard. So that is the case, and that has been the case even before this. The problem with this expansion is that it's actually going in the opposite direction that this should have went. I'm not completely against stand your ground because I believe there should be some level of legislation as far as people having to defend themselves and defend their home. However, my opinion is that the law should have been some changes needed to be made because it's too vague. It's too broad, and that allows people to kind of use it at their discretion and at their will. So I always been of the mindset, and whatever the law is, I have to enforce it the way it is. But my personal opinion has been that it's been too vague, and that there needs to be a little more defined aspects to it. What this expansion has done is the complete opposite. It's actually expanded it to where not only is it still vague, but it justifies using force when you're not in danger yourself.
You're not even an officer.
And right, you're not an officer, and even besides that, we're talking about for looting and basically for
Right. It's not even if somebody attacks you or so. It's basically as someone said in the clip that we played, it could almost be justified for a property crime. Trust.
Looting is essentially stealing and damaging businesses and stuff like that. And I just don't see the justification in using force against someone who's stealing or destroying
a non-violent crime.
Is it right? No, it's not right. But it's not. That should not justify using force against that person.
It's not a death sentence.
Right. So unless you yourself or your family or whatever are in some kind of danger, you shouldn't be using deadly force. So I'm not sure what the reasoning or the angle is. I don't see this working. I see this working out only for certain groups of people.
Which is who it was made to benefit.
And we've seen that even before the expansion. So I think, for one, the fact that this was on his priority list is beyond me because we don't have any riots or anything going on. So we got all kind of other stuff going on, and this is the legislation that he decides to write. And we're not in unless he knows something is coming. What's the reason for legislation on looters and rioters right now when we don't have anything going on like that?
But you said it best. Seeing something coming is maybe, again, this was crafted a few days after the election. And Kim, you talked about this before. We know what it's crafted for, but talk about some of the other things that, should be happening. Some of the issues he should be lending his voice to, i.e. schools and other things that he's not but he's choosing to focus on this.
Right, because you have the mayors of different counties. They met today, and the superintendent of even Dane County, they are calling, crying for the leadership of the governor. You have the newest elect mayor, Daniela Carver. Her first order of action was she asked the governor to, hey, give me guidance, governor. Where are you? Tell me what to do. The mayors are asking for mandate on masks, like mandatory masks, and yet the governor's not even available to respond or to say yay or nay when he was the one that downed it. So these mayors are coming together to stand up and get more leadership, and they asking for leadership from their leader, and their leader is focusing on everything. He won't even address the fact that the leaders are asking him for math. The superintendent is saying, hey, these things are happening, the percentage of this. The superintendent is saying, I want to make this move, but constitutional wise, I don't know if I could do it because the governor won't respond, won't call, he's not even talking to these people. They let that be known today that they came together and they met asking who talked to the governor. The same question, like dialogue we're having, you have mayors that are saying the same thing. And when he do come out, it's with pen to paper to make laws like this. When millions of people and thousands of people are literally dying and begging for help, You got people being evicted. You got people hungry. You got parents that don't know what to do with their children. All kind of programs and stuff you could sign off on. You got unemployment that you can add to and do things to help fix unemployment. But yet and still you're going after something like the man said that's not even affecting your state. And it's interesting that you say, I don't want what happened in Portland. Well, if you don't want that, then why don't you put laws in place that would prevent that? Not be proactive for when it happened. Put laws in place to not let it get that point. But he, like Brandon said, he's doing the opposite.
I find it very disheartening that I haven't really been watching the news as much, but I find it very disheartening that he has set forth with allowing evictions, especially during this holiday time. I mean, now landlords got to do what they have to do. And if the law supports it, then it is what it is. But I find it very disheartening that now you're going to put millions of people potentially out of a home and nowhere to go, along with probably no food either. So, like, where's your humanity for that? That's just beyond me. Like,
and you're not pushing and promoting to extend unemployment or do anything with unemployment, but you're pushing for guns and people to people and the fact that people are gonna get evicted. What do you think people that are gonna get evicted trying to survive? What do you think they're gonna go try to do? Possibly when he signed that you can evict people, he know they finna go probably steal. So let me go ahead and say evict them. So when they steal, you could shoot them. It just seemed like that seemed like that's more of an agenda, because people that don't have nothing to do, they're probably gonna steal, unfortunately. And now you saying shoot them.
Right.
And the thing about it is, and Kim, you alluded to this, and you're right. We always know statistics suggest that poverty equals crime. You know, and this COVID-19 situation has left massive poverty. People who were not in the area of poverty before because they were working. They might have been even the working poor, but they were at least working. Right. And now, you know, the working poor is even poor. And as you said, this is going to lead to mass, you know, death or whatever that can just kind of blossom and mushroom. And leadership is critical. Everything rises and falls under leadership, John Maxwell says in his book. But not only that, what's interesting is, again, we say this all the time, elections have consequences. We know this. And this is another consequence that the state of Florida is having to deal with, because we understand that, you know, governor, part of that midterm wave that people decided they were going to sit out. And now we're seeing the results of this, that we now have a governor who is in the pocket of not even a party. He is in the pocket of one person, and that's dangerous. A person, by the way, who won't even have a job no more. Let's just face it. The man, it doesn't have a job. And so he is still, for some reason, trying to placate to this guy. I don't know what his agenda is at this point, but he is just, you know, really, really trying. As others are trying to distance themselves, he keeps taking 2 steps forward. I don't know, Brandon. I maybe it's just me. I don't know. It just seems like other people are just quietly just kind of walking away and saying, let me go back to what I was doing. But this brother still, I mean, maybe because Trump is his resident, Florida resident, maybe, and he know, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know what his angle is, his purposes. I mean, this is the decision to expand this law is probably going to end up being one of his worst decisions ever. It's not good, and I just don't understand the reasoning. I don't understand the reasoning, and why are you quiet about everything else? You know, so maybe he took it to heart when Trump said he's gonna fire him if you don't lose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Since the loyalty to that, I mean, he can't fire you. It is what it is.
Right.
He may not know.
A lot of governors, once Trump got fired, you got Utah, you got Minnesota, and some of the other Republican states. The minute Trump refused and lost, they went and did a mandate for masks because they know that's what they people want. They were holding back probably because they were supporting Trump, but all of them, Utah, a couple, like 3 different states, they're putting in mandatory masks because their people been begging for it, but they wouldn't do it. And this governor, he won't even talk about it still. And he has the 3rd highest in the country. The state of Florida is the 3rd highest in the country. Dade County is the 6th or 7th highest in the whole country. We the 6th or 7th county with the highest numbers in the whole country. Knowing we have South Beach that people gonna be coming to during the holidays and other things, that other stuff down here that's gonna attract people. And the mayors, again, they can't even fine people for not wearing a mask because you, the governor, you refuse to say we stand behind you. You dividing leadership. You doing exactly what Trump did. Instead of bringing leadership together, you're constantly dividing leadership off of stuff that have nothing to do with a party. Because some of your mayors are in your party. So it really don't even have nothing to do with a party anymore. It's just blatant ignorance. There's no other way to define it.
The guy is just horrible. He really is. I mean,
he's an idiot. Just say it.
It's 28. It's 28. Is that we at that 28 mark? Here we go. Here we go. Yeah. Speaking of somebody who still, is in Trump camp for some reason, our good friend Lindsey. For some reason, we always end up talking about Lindsey, always putting his foot in his mouth. And so, if you've been following all of these various lawsuits around the country, Pennsylvania, Georgia, Arizona, all of these things have been, tossed out. I think out of the 25 to 26 cases, one has really seen the light of day, hasn't been thrown out, hasn't gained anything, but only one hasn't just been tossed out. But Mr. Graham thought that he would do some convert operation to try to see if he can get his Republican buddy in Georgia to perhaps throw out some votes that were not favorable to his buddy, Mr. Trump. And this brother wasn't having it. He went on CNN and pleaded his case as to what Lindsey Graham asked him to do. Elected government official asked his brother to do some stuff. So I want you guys to check this out and see for yourself.
You came away with the impression that he essentially wanted you to look for ways to toss out mail-in ballots. What exactly did he say to you?
Well, he asked if the ballots could be matched back to the voters. And then I got the sense it implied that then you could throw those out. And he really would look at the counties with the highest frequent error of signatures. So that's the impression that I got. But we've got signature match in place. We have signature match when you request the ballot, absentee ballot, and then we have signature match when it comes in. And then with our new online absentee ballot portal, that has photo ID. And so we feel really confident that the election officials have done their job, and that's what they're charged to do, is do their job and make sure the signatures match.
I just want to be clear on this, Mr. Secretary. You say Senator Graham wanted you to find ways to get rid of legally cast ballots because CNN asked him about these allegations. He denied them. He says that's ridiculous. His words, that's ridiculous.
Well, it's just an implication that look hard and see how many ballots you could throw out. And I think that they were looking at that as part of a court case.
So, every vote counts, right? Every vote counts. We preach that. For those people who don't think my vote don't count, every vote counts. We know every vote counts because these are the private conversations that officials have. This brother, again, who happens to be a Republican, decided that he was going to bring the private conversation public to let y'all know old brother Lindsey done crossed the state lines into Georgia, even though he the senator of South Carolina, asking this brother to go find some ballots to toss out because there's no way in the world that Trump could have lost Georgia.
And you
When you
wonder,
hear
and
this,
you wonder why you curious about how he won so much in South Carolina.
I was just going to say that.
What you think happened in
I was
South
gonna say
Carolina?
that. I was
I'm
just
just
going to
saying.
say that. And we
You
wonder why
asked that
he's feeling.
question. You said, I'm shocked he won by that much. Now you know. Are you still shocked?
Maybe he wanted to
Like
try it
he
because
done shuffle some stuff.
it was tested
right?
and
Maybe he
proven.
wanted to tell the guy how he did it. Because again,
Absolutely.
as we've been saying throughout months, that this brother Harrison was on his tail, and all of a
Leaning.
sudden, come election day, he gets blown
Yeah,
out the water. Old Lindsay done exposed the playbook.
absolutely.
And
And he was trying to slide them. He pulled the old Patriot Act, like them New England Patriots. He pulled the old Patriot Act in the Senate to get across them lines.
yeah,
That's some Patriot stuff.
I don't trust Lindsey with nothing, man. That guy, the fact that he's still in office is just really
He just
sad.
blatantly come out every other day or week with some
You
foolery.
can't believe nothing the guy says. I mean, I think he actually may be worse than 45. I think he may.
Absolutely. Well, he told y'all that when he said the old days and all his language and the thing, that it's just that 45 have more of a 45 know how to use technology a little better than Lindsay.
Right.
45 tweet, he don't. But if you get closer to him, he talk like, he have nothing to
my
lose.
thing
And
is,
who are y'all?
why these guys risking their own reputations and their own careers for Trump? Like, what is it?
I've been asking that
Does he
question.
know something about them that they don't want to get out? Like, what is it that these guys are literally making themselves look stupid and making themselves susceptible to criminal charges for Trump, a guy who, even if he was won, is only going to be here temporary. Like,
Another 4 years at most.
Right.
Now he don't even have 4 months now.
Right. Why are you doing all this for this guy? Like, I just don't understand. I really just don't understand. I mean, now you're crossing state lines and telling this guy, implying to this guy. I mean, is it really that serious?
I just think it's a sad indictment on America that he's able to do it. They said he did it. And for the littlest things, for 4 years, we had an investigation on emails and all this stuff. And he can publicly say what he did. And it's like nothing. Okay? Like no repercussion. It's just a sad indictment on the whole system. Like the Senate should be saying, hey, we come to veto him out today. Or just something. Like the whole Senate should be coming together to just say something. Like it shouldn't even got to, once it made national TV, they should have been doing a press conference to say right. Mr. Graham
Voter
have reached his
intimidation. That's
demise.
intimidate. That we talking about voter intimidation. That's intimidating an elected official suggesting. It is directly or indirectly, as this man said, he indirectly suggested that we should just. But the problem is, Brandon, what these guys don't understand at this point, Trump didn't lose by 3 votes. He didn't lose by 5 votes. He lost by a lot of votes, okay? And so basically what the court system is saying is, okay, if we found some voter irregularities, it still ain't gonna change nothing. So we're not going to court over tossing out 1,000 votes because your candidate lost by 20,000 in some states. So it's just amazing to me. And now, if you all are following, these states are giving the tab to recount on Trump, and that's why he's withdrawn. I think Michigan said, "Okay, you want us to count? That'll be $8 million, please."
Yeah, $3
And so
million for some states.
3 million, and he like, okay, so he's not even willing to put his own money up to recount. But Lindsey Graham is risking losing his job. Well, I don't know, because it looks like in South Carolina,
But the thing about it,
it don't matter.
If Trump don't concede and he keeps saying count the votes, and then he get to the 19th and he say, all right, don't count the votes, guess where all that money go? Trump is not an idiot. He knows what he's doing because the more he stay up there, he got that base that's dropping that money
They're
like
dropping money.
hotcakes. They dropping
His
the money,
business.
and
He
that
knew what
money
they
is
was
not
doing.
gonna get returned. That money is right there for his
That's
campaign fund if he run in 2024. But if that's another question. But even if then he gonna beg for more money, but that money is his. So all he's doing is padding his pockets. And again, I just think it's a sad indictment on America that they could get away with stuff like this. I mean, I'm not surprised they got away with planning to kidnap a governor. And these people had nothing to say. You didn't hear from the Lindsey Grahams then. You didn't hear from the Trump then. Pompeo or somebody was telling people vote twice if you can. Remember that? They told them it's okay to vote twice if you can. And now y'all disappointed because possible cheating happened.
Maybe the people in Georgia tried and then they got away with it. He told them to try.
Y'all mad.
He said,
exactly.
y'all try. If you get caught, then we know the system is good.
Absolutely.
Maybe the people in Georgia tried it. Them people in Atlanta, don't tell no black person to try. They gonna try to see how it goes.
And now y'all mad. They tried it. They don't tried it and it was all right. And now y'all mad. It's just a sad indictment that this is what we have to come home and turn our TVs on to and just look at more corruption. Like it's okay. It's really sad that our children are having to see this stuff and be raised and look at this stuff because it's really just we a world of corruption and it's becoming like the norm to watch corruption on TV every day, to watch corruption, to watch the violence, all this petty stuff that kids shouldn't have to be subjected to. It's becoming the norm now.
But that corruption stay at a high level. If it happens to us, we going to jail. We ain't gonna see the light of day. So, like you said, that gives out a message that if you up in the high ceiling, you get away with it. But you do it at the low level, you going and ain't nobody gonna be there to help you. So,
but guess what? But guess what? We got to teach our children that because they don't know you can't do what you seeing on TV. Everybody not teaching their child that you ain't that privileged. You know that keeps you having to keep talking to you because when they see it on TV, oh, the president did that. Okay, you go try to do that. Okay.
We also got to teach them not to believe everything that they read.
See, hear, read.
It's so much out there that is just inaccurate, and people have so many ways of getting information out there, whether it's tweets or Facebook, whatever, and you can about say anything, and it don't even have to be accurate. I mean, just president literally tweet stuff that is not true. We have to flag the president of the United States for tweeting stuff that's not true.
Absolutely.
So, as we, so if he's doing it, only God knows what other people are putting out there. So we even gotta teach the kids. Look, just because you read this on the internet,
don't mean it's
accurate. Don't mean it's true. And there's so much false information out there. The left is lying on the right, and the right is lying on the left, and you don't know what to believe. So it's like, where do we get our accurate information from?
Hot topics. This is where we fair and balanced. That's what we try.
And the sad part is the children learn government. By the time Trump is over, they're gonna have to go redo government and how the system works. And it's not the same. It's just not. Oh, and while we talking about government, I know one topic you was talking about what to put up. What's the guy, the Auburn coach? We ain't get to that. We gotta talk about that. Did you put that up on your
talk about him? We're gonna talk about that. But the thing about, and we're gonna move from Lindsey, but this is not long after he does this, he goes and gives Kamala a fist bump. Brandon was talking about, he two-faced it, and he's really trying to play both sides. Now he's working behind the back to get these people to not be president-elect and vice president-elect. But when you see it in the Senate, you giving a fist bumps like it's all good. This is smile in your face. I mean, if smile in your face was a song, was a clip, that's it right there. Because this man literally, a day after he does that, he sees, and then we cool. What's up, girl? Congratulations. What's up? I mean, come on, man. This is hilarious to me. It is hilarious to me. It's just hilarious to me. I don't know. I don't know if y'all saw this, but There was a march that took place in Washington the other day. It was it was advertised as a Million Man March, and some suggested it was a couple of 100,000 out there, maybe 100,000 at most. Million Man March. I think I heard that before. I think I heard somebody do that before. I don't know. Maybe I'm too young. I think I'm old enough to remember that somebody did that a few years ago. But it wasn't even just the march. It was the fact that, the stuff that was going on out there was interesting. I don't know if you guys got to see it. Brent, did you get to see a little bit of this march? I mean, it wasn't quite a million, but it was a few folks out there. What you think of that?
I think they missed the million mark. But from what I did see, it basically looked like one of his rallies, but without him being there. Just people yelling and screaming and saying, stop cheating us and whatnot. But I don't really know what the point of it was. I don't really know what was supposed to come of that. I know it didn't look safe as it relates to COVID restrictions. But also, I'm not really sure. I'm just amazed by one, the hypocrisy, but also just the delusion of his followers. It's just like, I just don't get it. Like, I just don't understand. Okay, we all gonna show up and yell and scream. And I did see some stuff where some areas it got a little out of hand, and there was some violence and stuff. But the people who always talk about the violent protests on the other side, they were silent. They had nothing to say about it. You know what I mean? So, if violent protesting is what you're really against, or looting or whatever, then you should have something to say about this too. You know what I mean? And that's usually what kills me, is the hypocrisy of some people. Like, this side does something and you say, oh, we need to stop them from doing that, and then your side does it, you don't say nothing. Okay,
right.
Well, that shows me what you really had the issue with.
Right, but you got to understand. I want y'all to hear something that was said at this march, because I want to ask the sisters this question. There were some speeches, and one of them stood out to me. I don't know if y'all heard this, but I'm gonna let y'all hear it, and I'm gonna ask the sisters what they think about this.
Lock him up! Lock him up! Lock him up! Lock him up! We are not letting that crackhead and that pedophile in our house.
Did you hear that? Lock them up. And Nikisha, did you hear what he said? We not letting the crackhead and the pedophile in our house. See, these white folks think that the White House is their house.
Oh, God.
Yeah, see, these are the things you're going to only hear on Hot Topics.
Lock him up! Lock him up! Lock him up! Lock him up! We are not letting that crackhead and that pedophile in our house.
Yeah, I wanted you to hear it again so you could know that you heard what you heard. Yeah. So Kimberly, I missed the memo where Kamala was on crack.
I missed the memo too, but I did get the memo where we already had a porn star living in the White House. But we ain't gonna talk about that. We let that by. I guess crack is whack, but porn is in. I don't know. I'm just saying. I mean, I missed the crackhead memo, but I did get that porn star memo loud and clear. And she been there already, so I guess porn is okay. Most people that do crack
It's
go
a
on about
little
their
legal
business
though.
and ain't nobody
It's
affected.
legal to them.
You're right.
It's a little
But
legal.
yeah, but I'm just
So
saying, that's just me. If you
I
out there and you got the porn star memo, put your hands up. I'm just saying. But the crack is whack.
Oh God.
I'm just saying, that's just me. But go ahead.
I think that what he's referring to about the crack, I think it's talking about Biden's son.
It doesn't even matter what it's
I think
talking
that's what he's
about.
talking about because he's the
But
one
it
that had
doesn't
the
even
drug
matter.
issues and whatever.
You could be right. You could be right. You all could be right. So he wasn't. He was.
It was
He
very
was talking about the
inappropriate.
crackhead and the child. The molester was his. I guess. Joe is the
But
molester, even though
So it's
Trump was
Trump,
the
so
one
what's the
that was
difference?
grabbing the. Okay. You
no.
may be.
No,
But
no.
I mean, but
It
what
doesn't
I don't
even
agree.
matter because Joe got grown children. And before Trump, nobody brought their grown children in the White House before Trump.
No, that's
Nobody
Trump.
brought their grown children. He the only one still babysitting them grown children. And nobody brought their grown children in the White House. So that's irrelevant. You just assuming that he gonna bring that. No, he know what he was saying. They know what he was saying. It just don't matter. No. No, I'm not giving him that much credit. No, he knew what he was talking
I
about.
mean, I think he's probably assuming that
So
Trump, his
so
son
we
is going
let
to be in there.
the first lady on the fan. What's that? The fans only page. She on the fans only or only fans, whatever that.
Fans only. That's what it
And
is.
fans only page. And we already got a fans only page person in the White House. So we might. I just. I just see this is the kind of stuff again. This is America we living in. This is the type of stuff that goes on at these rallies, and anybody that supports this. I don't care whether you're Democrat, Republican, but many of these people claim to be Christians,
Right,
and they
right.
support this propaganda that is just hilarious to me. It is just absolutely hilarious that this is the type of stuff these Christians support, and they don't say anything about it. It's just,
Nothing.
it's good. This is the most vile White House I've seen in a while. Just vile. The stuff that comes out of the president's mouth, the stuff that comes out of his supporters' mouth, it's just vile, and it has become commonplace
Yeah.
in America. I mean, because there was never a time that you would say that. You might have thought that, but there was a time that you just wouldn't say that about somebody. I'm just
I
saying.
Right.
mean, they see it from their leader. He
I
gets
mean,
up and he talks, you know, with no regard, with no respect. He very rarely has a speech or an address or some kind of press conference where it's not disrespectful, not name calling. Like it's like he can't talk for 10 minutes without name calling or um, without being divisive. It's like he can't do it. He literally cannot have a speech where he's not divisive, not calling names. Like I haven't seen him once yet just address the country, like just talk to the people. Right? It's always about I did this better and my haters and my enemies and all this. He can't do it. He can't do it. So when you see the way he talks, well, that gives them the license to speak like that and to do that. And one thing I've noticed is that you know people aren't looking for truth. They're just looking to be right. Okay. They don't care if the report is true. They don't care if the facts are true. If their side says that Biden is this and his son is this, then that's what we're gonna chant. That's what we're gonna say. It don't have to be true. It goes with what we believe and what our agenda is. So it don't have to be true. I'm gonna believe it. If somebody posts it on Facebook, I'm not gonna see if it's true. I'm just gonna share it because that's what my side is saying. They're not looking for truth. They're just looking to be right, and it's pathetic. It's pathetic that we've gotten to this point, and it's pathetic that people would just diminish their own reputations and um, their own selves for the sake of supporting someone like this.
But I remember a time, man, not too long ago, that a good man, John McCain, when people were attacking President Obama, he said at his own town hall meeting, No, we're not gonna go there.
Yeah.
His quote, and I quote, "We may disagree on politics, but he's a good person. We're gonna debate the facts. We're gonna debate what we disagree on, and at the end of the day, we're still gonna be Americans."
Right.
I thought that's what it was supposed to be about. And lo and behold, he was a eulogist at McCain's funeral, because it just seems like we've got to the point where we can't separate the two.
Yeah, and I think
Well,
McCain was the model politician. I really think he was.
He was.
but that's because
We saw that when he was running against Obama, like how he handled that. And one of the main things that has happened since Trump has been in office is that, and I've said this before, decency used to be the floor. Like we at least used to, like we were going to be decent. It used to be the floor. Like we're at least going to stand on decency, right? Now it's this unreachable ceiling that we just can't reach it. It's just no decency out there. Not even we can't reach it.
I'm not reaching for
I'm
it.
not gonna try to reach it, right?
Right.
And that's one of the major things that has changed since Trump has been in office, is that decency is no longer the floor; it's an unreachable ceiling.
Well, that's
Wow.
because McCain built his political career on binding and bringing people together. Trump really didn't have a political career, but he came in being divisive, because even in the first presidential debate, he talked about Ted Cruz's wife and how ugly she
Oh,
was and
man.
stuff. That lady had nothing to do with the he came in being divisive. And then Ted Cruz made it acceptable because he's up Trump behind, and he's right there like Trump right hand man. So I'm not surprised that Lindsey Graham could give fist bumps and
I
this
lost
other
all
stuff,
respect for Ted
because
Cruz. All respect.
but that's how that's their whole side. You know, they talk about the left, the right. That's their whole side, is divisive. We'll figure it out amongst each other, but let's go. As long as, like you said, Brandon, anything goes. You know, it's like, let's just get what we want and we'll figure the rest out. That's how they operate. And it's really about them. It's not about anybody else. Versus McCain, it was about bringing the people together, uniting the people, and literally helping the people. They don't care about nobody. If Ted Cruz could be the president in 2024, he gonna try to be it again. Trump ain't gonna support him now, but you can't tell him that right now, because most of the stuff he's still doing, hoping that he still gets support, hopefully from Trump or the party, because that's all that matters. Is if I have them by my side, we could be divisive amongst each other, but he think they gonna stick with him. But a lot of them gonna be up in for a wake-up call once Trump out.
The way Trump talked about Cruz's family, I mean, they were battling.
It was pathetic.
Right.
They were really going at it personally. And you look at it now, you would never, like, listen.
He must be never mind. I'm finna say something. I was gonna say something.
You talk about my wife and my family, the way Trump talked about his and the way they were going at it. You ain't gotta work like.
But the sad part is,
oh Lord, forgive me. I was gonna say something. Lord, forgive me. Forgive me,
but
Lord.
the sad part is, he didn't even have no clapback. Like, it wasn't hard to get clapback. Everybody know about Trump, wife. You ain't even used the clapback. Everybody know.
Yeah.
You just let it ride. That's how you knew he was soft. He had no kind of clapback, and the clapback was waving in his face. Like, I was like, ooh, let me say it. Anybody could have said something about that man, wife, and you gonna let that ride?
Right.
And everybody would have backed you, because it's all facts.
Right. And the thing is, it's just so ironic that Trump's whole base is to basically go against the name of this country, right? Like the United States. It's literally the first part of the name. And we talking about we love USA.
Yeah.
Look at
So divided.
look at the U. Like literally and figuratively. Look at the U. It's so united. Okay, look at the U. And he literally is going against the name of this great country we love.
I'm not gonna do it, Nancy. She want me to say what I was gonna say. I would say Trump must be seen being Carson wife, but that's okay. He could have said that.
Can we move on?
I think he missed. I think he missed those remarks. I think he had that remark for the wrong candidate at the time, but he threw it out. Trump be having his things he gonna say. I think he targeted that one at the wrong one at the time. But
That's
anyway,
because he don't write his speeches down. He don't write his speeches down.
but I go back to this, Lakeisha, because I'm getting ready to show you guys something. The thing about it is, what just trips me out is the fact that these people say they're Christians. That I think that's the part, man. That's the part that gets to me, because they have all of these conservative views that suggest that they line up with God and line up with the Bible. And I've got some conservative views about issues as well. But I got to look at the Bible holistically, man. And I just can't point out and say these are the two sins that I'm going to, talk about and just forget about everything else. And so, last week we talked about, Paula White and well, I forgot the other crazy, the blow. What's the blow? What's his name? Yeah, Kenneth Copeland. But I want to talk about prayer, politics, and pulpit, because there was a pastor, man, that decided that he was going to say a prayer for our beloved president. I want you guys to hear this prayer, because this blew my mind when I heard it, and I'm like, this can't be the church of 2020. Like, I want you guys to hear this. Watch this.
Humble ourselves tonight, Lord God. We ask you in Jesus' name, Father, that you'd forgive us as a people. Almighty God, please. God, you are pro-life. And one man is, and one man is not. Would you be pro-life for us, Jesus? Lord, one man is for Israel, one is not. You are for Israel. Lord, one man is for our military and our police, and the other is not. You are. What will we decide? What message will we send you? Jesus, forgive us as a people. We have slept when we should have been awake. Lord, I pray tonight for the salvation of Joe Biden, God, that you'd touch his soul. All he knows is his version of Catholicism. He doesn't know you personally. Father, we pray for Kamala Harris. She's had such a crazy exposure to spiritual things, but none the truth. And so they have their agendas and they have their thoughts and their ways. Without you, Lord, we'd be just like them. Save them. Father, tonight, President Trump is entertaining in his mind. I'm sure it's almost impossible for him to entertain this in his mind, but rumor has it he's never lost anything before. And God, I just pray that tonight he would lose himself and find you tonight. Father, that you'd visit him in his dreams. God, that you would take this very strong and able man who doesn't lean on anybody to go to his knees. Lord, may he collapse in your arms.
Oh God, please, God, he never lost anything before, God. I know he lost his university, he lost his businesses, he lost his wife, for God. He never lost before, God. To say he's so saved. What the hell is this man talking about? Excuse me. What is he talking about? Oh, save Joe Biden, Lord. Just save Joe Biden. Dude, is Trump saved? Is he saved? Does he go to church? What?
Wow.
This is what this man got on his knees for and started crying. What kind of Jesus? I don't know this Jesus this man was talking to. Maybe I need to be born again. I don't know this Jesus. Y'all need to help me, because this man was sincere in his heart about this man. You know. Bless him, Lord. Oh God, he never lost. He just, oh God, this is the first time he lost in his life. Everything this man had done went bankrupt. What is this man talking about?
He done lost 3 wives.
Right.
Listen. Wow.
And not to mention his mind, he lost that a long time ago.
What? These people go to church. The last few weeks in church has been amazing around America. Maybe, oh my God.
Well,
Go ahead.
Going into the church. I think don't go into the church, because the church they going into is just some hypocrisy. Like that is beyond crazy.
See, I had saw part of that video. I hadn't seen that much of it.
Jesus.
I'm actually, I don't know why. I'm not surprised, but I'm blown away. I'm not surprised. I'm blown away.
You're not surprised?
No, I'm not surprised. And it's like, it's not even funny, because he said so much, right?
He don't lean on nobody, Lord. He the strongest man ever. He just don't lean on nobody, Lord.
So why they calling on the Lord?
I'm trying to figure out. I don't know. I'm trying to
have no words.
Figure out what their basis is, right? And I mean, he's talking about he's pro-life and one isn't, and which that's a whole conversation.
Israel and one isn't. One is for the military.
You know, because they talk about this pro-life thing, but it seemed like they're only pro-life in the womb.
Is in the womb.
Okay,
right?
So you're not pro-life, because when certain lives are getting killed unjustly,
say nothing.
You're not pro-life.
Otis Moss said that these folk are pro-abortion, but post-killing, post-birth killing. Basically, that they against abortion in the womb, but they for abortion after birth. That's what Otis Moss said. But go ahead.
Listen to all this stuff. One for Israel, the other one's not. One for police and military. Who said Biden is not for police? His son was in the military. What are you talking about?
Ain't none of Trump children ever even been in ROTC, let alone the doggone military.
There's nowhere, like, Biden is not against the military. He's not against the police, right? And he's talking.
And Biden keeps talking about it and putting the country back together. I'm confused.
He had the nerve to say that Joe Biden basically needs to get saved. Okay, y'all give me a moment here. I got to get this. The nerve to say that Joe Biden needs to get saved. Okay, we know it has been well stated that Joe Biden and his family and his wife, they are church-going people. Okay, they are believers, and they go to church basically every Sunday, from what we understand.
But he only know his form of it, though. He don't know Trump version.
He's still trying to figure out if Trump is saved, for one.
Right.
And I'm almost certain he didn't step foot in the church before he started his campaign and stuff. That's a whole
right.
Other, right. So where's this coming from? And then Kamala talking about all these spiritual, like, what are you talking about? And then had the nerve to say this guy's never lost anything. Right. Which is completely.
He's trying to fathom in his mind, how could he lose? Lord Jesus, they must have cheated.
No more losing than gaining, okay?
Absolutely.
And the last thing, and I promise I'll be quiet right here. The last thing is, I don't know any nice way to say this, okay? But as the Black community, we really need to be choosy about these churches that we go
to. Absolutely. You better say that.
Okay.
I'm gonna say it. I'll say it. We gotta make black church great again. That's why we gotta stop going to these folks' churches, making them great, taking our education,
Making them
our money,
profitable.
and our just our obedience. I'll say obedience because them folk will get you to do stuff you will never do at the black
For a black
church.
church.
And we making them famous. And this is the type of prayers they praying when they go down on their knees at night.
And I think for one, and I'm not going to generalize all the white churches because we know that there are some that have done the right thing. There's a lot of white pastors that have done the right thing, that have been behind us, and so I'm okay with that. But we really got to be choosy. We really got to be choosy about, one, how we support these white churches that are clearly not for us, okay? And two, we see the importance of the black church during moments like this. This is when we see the importance of a church that's going to speak out, with certain things. And if you're black and you're at a church that, for one, has taken this kind of stance, okay, or one, has not openly supported the black community, you don't need to be there. Okay?
Right. That's the key. That's the key. Like it's it to me, and chime in, guys that are watching. For me, it's more than they're not being against blacks. To me, is did you come out vocally to support the black agenda? Do you, if you're at a church and it's Black History Month and this white pastor is looking at 40 or 50% of his congregation black, and he hasn't said anything about black history, he won't even let a black preacher come in and preach black history, are they really supporting you? It's one thing to not necessarily be against you, but are you supporting me? I'm supporting you by giving you my money, my time, and my talent. And that's the problem that I have with a lot of these churches. They kind of straddle the fence. They're not going to come out and say all this stuff, but they're not going to be supportive of blacks either. And so my thing is, if you can't support us, because we go out of our way as black churches, and as I think as a black race, we go out of our way to celebrate everybody. We be at work and it's Hispanic, we gonna eat the Hispanic food, we gonna do all that. We do it on our jobs. But we don't see that primarily in mainly the white churches, even the ones that are not necessarily against blacks, but not many come out and just support blacks. Not many.
What's interesting about that, and this is something that me and Jazz have spoke about in the past, is that you always see white churches that have black members, right? Black support. You very rarely see a black church that has white members. It's very rarely the other way around, right? So,
and leadership. Look at the leadership team of these white churches who have a lot of black members. Look at the leadership team, and you don't see any black leaders, but they taking black money. I could do a whole show about that, but I'm a digress.
I think we really need to be careful with the churches that we're attending, and it's unfortunate that it has to be this way. It's unfortunate, but the truth of the matter is, the church for black people has been. It's been more than just church historically for us. It's more than just church. Okay, it's not just about showing church. This is all we had to lean on. This is all we had was church. So it means a little something different in our community. And I'm not saying you shouldn't go to a white church, but I'm saying be careful and be selective about going to a church where, one, the staff doesn't look like you and that they don't support you and what you look like. And if they're taking hard stance, and I'm not saying, they got to talk about being one way or other. I'm saying they need to stand on truth and make sure that everyone feels welcome. Okay? Because I can't imagine a black person who may be a Democrat or may not be a Trump supporter in that service, how they felt. So I think
not just look on the website. That's the first indication. And I'm not talking about custodian. I'm talking about leadership. Look at the leadership team. Are there any black people in that church with any kind of power? Do they have a platform? Is there a black minister on staff? Is the doggone secretary? Anybody in the leadership team that's connected to the pastor? If they don't look like you, I don't care how many of y'all in that church, they're not for you. Because guess what? When it comes to issues like this, there's nobody in that room that's going to talk and speak for African Americans. And this is where churches like this, I mean, it makes my skin crawl, because this is what this man said publicly. He got down on his knees, sorrowful, crying with his garbage. So could you imagine how his sermons are crafted? Could you imagine how the church structure is crafted? Could you imagine the way they do things? If he was bold enough to say this and to pray this prayer, and you saw them, everybody else coming to bow down, like man, it's over, man. This man is lost. You talk about he wrestling in his mind how he could possibly lose. That's what happened in life. You win some, you lose some. They have made Trump to be this invisible God that don't lean. I know you don't lean on nobody, but look, get the heck. You will not see a black preacher, Republican, or you won't see them do no mess like that, because they can't get away with it. That's why you won't see it, because they'll never get away with it. If one of us would have prayed that prayer about President Obama, they would have slapped us and tried to take away our tax exempt status.
They tried to. They would have.
And the hypocrisy of this mess is just laughable to me. It really is. Go ahead, Bishop. I'm sorry. The preachers got on a little tangent. I'm sorry.
Y'all off the chain ever since 25 after. Y'all ain't been right tonight. I'm gonna let y'all have it.
It's just sad, you know. And there's always been this thing that, you know, 11 o'clock on a Sunday is the most segregated time in this country. But you know, that isn't because the white people are in the black church. That's because a lot of us have left the black church and went to the white church. And I'm not saying there's a problem with that. You know, any church that's doing the right thing, you go where you're getting fed, you know.
Right.
So no matter what it looks like, but just know where you're at. Like, know where you're at, and you know, do you have to feel uncomfortable because you're there? You know, are you getting the support you need because you're there? Just know where you are. And I think in times like this, you get to really see what they're about. Okay, you get to really see who they are, and you know, you got to make the decision: is that the place for you? So it's just a really interesting. It's really interesting to me how the church has become so involved in this whole divisive thing that's been going on for the sake of Donald Trump. I think that's really interesting.
Right. This is not again. That's my biggest problem.
We don't even know if he's a believer. We don't even know if he's
right.
And we're doing all this because of him, you know. So, you know,
they didn't pray like this for Bush. They didn't pray like they didn't pray like this for Reagan. That's what I'm saying. They have made this guy a God figure. And I'm gonna say this, and we're gonna move to our next topic, final topic, perhaps. And I want somebody to tag somebody in this, because I want you to hear my heart for all of our college educated young black people who tend to take their education and then look at the black church as being ignorant. Oh, I don't like, you know, oh, it's too loud. I want to go to church for 45 minutes. Oh, I don't like, he do too much hollering. He don't do too much that. Don't turn your back on the church that sent you to school. Don't turn your back on the church that prayed you through school, that helped your mama while you was in school, and then take your degree and get overly educated and then become submissive to the white church. Because chances are you wouldn't be where you are if it wasn't for the black church. And as parents, we have to teach our children, you're taking food off of the black church's table when you do that. And that's a sore spot for me, because I see it happening all across, because that's what happens. They go to school, they get educated, and all of a sudden everything about the black church is, I'm too educated for that. I don't want to. You understood what they were saying when you needed money. You understood what they said when you were in high school, broke and disgusted, and them folks gave you an envelope that sent you to school. How many of these white churches sending black children to school? So these are the questions. And I'm a T-shirt. We got to make black church great again, because it can't be great if we pull the great blacks out of these churches and bring them back to black church. They could be as great. But anyway, I digress, because it's gonna get too hot, and they're not gonna like it. So thankfully, somebody's been working. And they'll get killed. Pfizer has come out, and they're saying
Pfizer releasing more details from its COVID vaccine.
There's a vaccine available that's coming out. They're saying, I won't play the clip. We're approaching our time. I think it's about 95%. They're saying they've done some case studies, and they're about 95% success rate. We know that Pfizer has been a company that the White House has been pushing for a while. I don't know if you guys have been keeping up with this, but they're saying they're coming close to a vaccine, and they're getting ready to present it to the FDA for approval. We talked about this briefly a few months ago. How do we feel about the fact that there may be a vaccine coming out, and do we trust the results? Because maybe they're connected to the current administration. What do you guys think about that?
Well, I think the reason why he's trying, that's part of the reason I think he's trying to hold out. But Biden has already came out and said that basically they're going to have to get it all done before the 20th, because his team is already working on making sure. They're not saying that they're totally whatever, but the fact that they're not sharing, the Trump administration is not sharing what the findings are and how this and how that. So it's going to be just like when Trump came in, his first order of business was to undo Obama stuff. Well, that's probably going to be part of Biden's first order of business, and he's pretty much going to start at that vaccine point, because unlike Trump, who fired the center, the disease control team, I can't think of the CDC, he fired everybody and took it upon himself. And all of a sudden, we got people working. Well, Biden has a whole committee. So I think that, I'm not saying it's going to be a total wash, but his committee is already ready and to be vested into knowing all the details, because 45 refused to share what the findings are. And we all know, we're not saying it's bad, but we all know it's self-gratification just to say, I did, I told y'all, I said. So, best ever. But
I did hear.
Nikisha, you trust it?
I don't know if I trust it. I mean, I don't know. I'm gonna just leave it as that. But I did hear that Memorial will be the first hospital set up to hold the vaccine. So I feel like if it works and it's going to actually, cure people, then I'm all for it. I just hope that, everything that's supposed to be done is done the way that it should be, for the sake of people. I mean, so many people have lost their lives for no reason. And we probably could avoid losing so many lives, even lives now we probably could avoid losing. But I just hope if the vaccine is here, that it, is meant to do its job. I don't know if I trust it, but I hope it's here to do its job.
Brandon, what you trust this study here?
I'm not sure I trust it just yet. I mean, this was the first year I had ever even gotten the flu shot, so
never
I'm definitely not going to be getting this. I won't be amongst the first, I'll tell you that.
Well, you an officer, so you gonna be offered one of the first. Your line of work gonna be offered.
I mean, I'm gonna take it, but
they gonna give you a bonus check for it.
Child, please. I seriously doubt that. I don't know that I trust it. I'm always weary of things when they initially release, and that's with anything. That's with
right.
Video games, and I see all these people going crazy about video games. I'm like,
phones.
I don't want nothing when it first come out. They haven't worked out the kinks yet. So,
well, let me ask you this question: you getting a PS5?
Huh?
Are you getting a PS5?
maybe
Is
sometime
Jazz
next year.
buying? Is
No,
Jazz buying you a PS5?
it won't be anytime soon. I don't like to be in that first
If
wave.
Jazz can afford a PS5, she need to holler at me.
She can't.
We could give her a list of stuff she could buy other than that PS5.
We don't have no PS5 money right now, and if we, no, I don't like to be in the first wave because they haven't worked out the kinks of some stuff, right? So it's the same thing with this. If it's good and it works, great. That would be great. We need it. But I'm not gonna be in that test trial group. I do have stock in that company, so I would like for it to be to work for obvious reasons. So
oh yes, I didn't play the clip, but they showed that the stocks are going up. And Pfizer is going up.
I got some stock in that. I'm hoping it
Pfizer and Moderna.
Yeah,
right.
I'm hoping that it's good.
Moderna.
So but I definitely won't be amongst the first trying to test it out.
Well, guys, of course, we're going to be off next week, celebrating the holidays. So Thanksgiving is going to be different this year. Many of us have to make decisions about how we're going to handle Thanksgiving this year. There is a big debate in Oregon. I want you guys to see this. The governor has made a little mandate about COVID-19. I want to see if you guys agree with her stance that her new law, I don't want to say law, but she set something out in the state of Oregon. I want you guys to see if you are in agreement with it.
Oregon. There's an order there to limit indoor gatherings to 6 people. That's it. That applies to Thanksgiving lunch, of course. Come in, Tootie Smith, the commission chair-elect, county commission chair-elect in Clackamas County. Tootie, I hope I got all of that lot right. Clackamas County is in Oregon, correct? Yes?
Yes, it is. We're Oregon's 3rd largest county, and we border Portland, Oregon.
Okay, so what are you going to do on Thanksgiving?
I'm going to celebrate it with my family because I want the connection and I love them. And I should be able to extend that courtesy to my family without the threat of Governor Brown wanting to arrest and jail people who are having a Thanksgiving meal, while at the same time, she's allowing rioters and anarchists to destroy and burn and pillage the city of Portland.
I believe you've invited everybody to your Thanksgiving. Everybody who normally comes to your Thanksgiving.
Everybody who normally comes. Yes, Stu, that's right. And thank you for that clarification. I've invited all of my family who normally comes to Thanksgiving dinner, and it's their choice. They have said they want to be together because they likewise crave the connection. They want to be there. And people will be responsible. I'm not saying we're going to go out and spread. Most of my family members have been tested for COVID. Most of those tests have come back, well, as far as I know, all of them have come back negative. So they will make their own decisions and how they conduct themselves.
What are you going to do? Sorry.
So that's the debate. In that clip, she later goes on to suggest that the issues with the state mandate, and unlike other states that governors have set out similar mandates, but they've done it in counties where the COVID numbers are high. So they're fighting now because she's basically said that she's going to enforce this 6 and under requirement for Thanksgiving. Guys, we're getting ready to prepare for Thanksgiving. Is she taking this one a little too far? How do you feel about government regulating your Thanksgiving? Nikisha, what do you think about that?
I mean, 6.
I know you. I don't know. You're gonna be struggling. What if you got 6 children in your house? You already done met the quota.
I'm already at the max, include my 7. I'm tapped out. I get it. I honestly get it. I feel like through this whole COVID experience, some of us have just been so lackadaisical about it. Like, we don't take it serious. Some people don't feel like it's real. Some people feel like they're exempt or they're unexposed to it. So I get it. The restrictions, I'm not too fond of it. I think maybe she's been too restrictive on certain things, but I get it. I also agree with the elect is that you have to practice safety measures. You have to be safe wherever you plan on going. You have to be a responsible adult and be safe. So for me and my household, I'm not going nowhere. I prefer to just stay home because I feel like other people aren't as safe as me and mine. So I prefer to just keep us home and avoid the additional crowd. So that's my take on that.
Again, guys that are watching, let us know are you going out? Are you staying in? What's going on? But the question is, how do we feel about government kind of regulating? We already got the HOA regulating how many cars you can have in your doggone driveway, all that kind of stuff. But Brandon, how do you feel? What are your plans for Thanksgiving? How do you feel about government kind of regulating Thanksgiving? A lot of people have been waiting on this time to socialize with family. And should it be our choice, or do we think government should have a role in how many people we can have in our house? Well, we pay the mortgage.
Well, for one, my Thanksgiving plans are still up in the air. My family, I'm not even sure we know what it's going to look like yet or what's happening. Jazz has to work most, if not part of the day. So I really don't know what my Thanksgiving is going to look like. I literally don't know. I'm hoping that somebody could just throw me a plate at this point. So I honestly don't know what my Thanksgiving is going to look like. I don't know that I agree with telling people how many people they could have at their house. That's the first thing. I think I think they can make recommendations, and then people just got to choose what they want to do. I'm not sure I like government telling me you can only have 6 people at your house. Make the recommendation and leave it at that. And also, I'm curious about how they're going to enforce this. Like, are we going to be sending the cops to knock on the door and count how many people in the house? Like, I don't see that working. It's not realistic. Like, you're not going to be hauling people off to jail because they got 7 people in the house eating turkey. Like, it's ridiculous. So, I'm not sure. Maybe it's a scare tactic. I don't know. I get, we got to be safe. I get that they want people to be safe. Um, I feel like at this point, although we would love to gather like we usually do, unfortunately, we can't do it the way we used to. So I think everyone should use precaution and just be smart about it. We really got to get creative. We've had to get creative all year with everything, right? So we gotta take that into the holiday season and be creative about it. But I don't think I like government telling me how many people I can have in my house.
And Kim, we know that, of course, it's a Democratic governor, and so a part of this is political. She did say that she will enforce this. Of course, she didn't necessarily say how she will enforce it, but the fact that she said enforce it, those on the other side of the aisle have suggested, cops going to be knocking at your door. And so part of the stance is political. But do we even feel like this rule is necessary, that it should even be up in the air about a gathering in people's homes? Not talking about restaurants, but the home restrictions. Do we think that government should have a say so and a mandate in our homes?
Well, for us, we don't have to have that problem because our governor ain't nowhere to be found, so he ain't gonna regulate nothing. So we okay. We can have a party and everything. He's not regulating nothing. And I feel that if your state does not have a mask mandate, then they shouldn't even be talking, because you going to the store and you're not even telling people to wear masks. And basically the answer is no, because I don't know. We didn't show it. I think it's the House or the Senate meeting. The House has a mandate. The Senate doesn't. Like, the House has to have masks on, but the Senate, they don't. It's optional. And most of the Democrats wear masks. And I think the other day on the news, one of them was standing up talking with a mask on, and he asked the other side that if you're going to speak into the mic, wear a mask. And mind you, he was just getting over COVID. And he popped off on the man. You can't tell me what to do. I can't breathe with a mask. I can't speak. So, again, lack of leadership. So that's in the House and in the Senate and at the top level. Lack of leadership, lack of whatever. So I really don't think nobody's going to listen to anybody right about now. They can't even have a meeting amongst themselves without food in front of them. They gonna be food fighting over you ain't got on your mask. They gonna be throwing stuff across the table and stuff like that. So, and then Nancy Pelosi was gonna have a party. I don't know if y'all heard about that, a dinner party, and they came out strong on her. Oh, you gonna have a party? You don't have mask. It's just funny how these people pick and choose. Most of these governors will not enforce a mask mandate, but they want to tell people when it's convenient for them or to make them look good about a mask. It's just it's sad, but the politics of it is just overshadowing the amount of deaths. You would think that when you look at those number of deaths, it speaks for itself. Conduct yourself properly. It should be enough said. Like, do the right thing. Come on, Spike Lee. Just do the right thing. Just do what you're supposed to do. The numbers speak for themselves. But because everybody have their own political agendas, we act like the numbers are Scrabble or something. Like we could change them to say, okay, do this, and then change it back to say, nope, look at this, do this. It's just really sad, especially to the people that have lost family members and stuff. It's just sad to still know you lost your loved one. Some people multiple loved ones, and then you see stupid and petty stuff like this happening. And as a person that lost a loved one, you don't even have an option in it. You know, no matter what they say, your loved one not coming back. But we're still not conducting ourselves from the leadership level to just be empathetic to say, for these people's sake, this is what we want the country to do. Because if we had that leadership level a long time ago to say that, Thanksgiving wouldn't even be a debate. You know, everybody would have kind of fell in place because leadership would have guided them. And that's what leadership does, guide people. So hopefully June 20th, we'll be headed in that direction towards getting some guidance.
June, you mean January?
I mean January 20th. I'm sorry.
Trump probably wish it was June 20. Well, guys, again, we'll be off next week. Prayerfully, I'm with you, Brandon. Wherever I go, I just hope they have some food. I would suggest that you.
Oh, you act like you know you ain't finna. You know what? I hope you get some food too, wherever you go. Wherever you go, I hope you do too. Brandon, find him a plate with you. Wherever you find a plate, Brandon, tell him you need to.
I was going to say food with family. That's what you were so quick.
Fix
I didn't even finish the sentence.
Fix it.
I hope to have some food and be around family is what I was going to say. Thank you very much. But we wanted to make sure that I would suggest that you kind of, if you're going to have an invite list, kind of check out where your family been. Every time do you see them going places, do they have on a mask? Do you think they're responsible? If you don't think they're responsible, then you ain't having nothing at your house. I would say that would be a good way to kind of, we all trying to be safe, but this is an important time of the year. For many, I wouldn't suggest that anybody neglect their family here. As Brandon said, be creative. If you don't feel comfortable, be creative. We can do Thanksgiving via Zoom or FaceTime, but make sure that you do exercise this opportunity to check on your family, see your family, love on your family, pray for your family, because this is an unusual time. Nobody ever thought back in March that we would be having these conversations, because from what we were told, it was magically going to disappear. And here we are. It's still here. It's still around, still killing people. But preferably Pfizer and, have this vaccine and we can get back to a sense of normalcy. All right, guys. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Peace out. Enjoy yourself. Hopefully by then, Trump would have conceded, got to the fact that he's not going to win this election, and we can get on with America as we once knew it. Love you guys. See you real soon. Be blessed. Bye-bye. Uh-oh. Are we off? No, we're not off. Now we off.